Speaking of shows, though, okay, we had one that just came out on Netflix recently, Cobra Kai season 5, which is another fucking show my brother will watch. All right, I don't know how many times I have to beg, dude. You know what I mean? There's a whole list. Me and Ben talked about it with you. Remember the other night? You all the Mandalorian. There's all, you know what I mean? Like, God, dude. But so Cobra Kai season 5 just came out, and obviously it's on Netflix, so you have the chance to binge watch it, right? Half-hour episodes, 10-episode season. And my overall thoughts on this season, because I've been reviewing the last couple ones, let's just get one thing out the way, bro. One of the reasons that this show is such a goddamn success is because they pay respect to what came before, the legacy of what came before, the lore, everything. This is the blueprint for Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, anything that has a huge legacy tied to it. Follow what Cobra Kai has done. They're not perfect by any means, but if you follow what they've done, this is why their show is such a huge success, because they're not out here trying to pander to people, and they're not out here trying to force a different ideology onto people. It's just straight up karate, and it's just straight up fun. Season 5, they bring in a new sensei who's a female. She's the granddaughter to, I believe, Terry Silver's trainer. There's a bunch of female fighters in the show, and you know what they don't do? They don't do this. Me woman, me no karate. You know what I mean? They don't do the whole me a woman, me better. Or like me woman, me depressed. Or not me oppressed. They don't do that. They just give you good fucking characters and good writing, and that's why the show's good. You know what I mean? One of the main characters in this season, Kenny Payne, he fights for Cobra Kai. He's the teenage black kid. They don't say me black kid, me good at karate, right? They don't do, you know what I'm sorry, but they don't do that. He's just a good badass character who has a good arc. He's been bullied by Daniel LaRusso's son. Now he learned karate and now he's beating his bully's ass. Tori Nichols, Sam LaRusso, they're good female characters. You know, I keep doing this, but not doing the me female, me better, right? Like the whole, like the pandering, like the virtue signaling. And just know, going forward, if you're like a big IP and you have like access to create movies or shows based off these legacy IPs, follow what they're doing. They're doing great. So season 5, right? The way it ended, I already know season 6 is probably going to go into like the worldwide tournament. But if they didn't have the ending where Kreese didn't die, right? And they just kept that out and then ended it the way they did, it kind of felt like a series finale. So that's kind of the one part I was like, that's kind of weird, because it felt like a series finale, but they ended it with Kreese not really dying. Like he like faked his death to escape prison. So I was like, okay, cool. Like obviously they're going to go to the worldwide tournament next season. You know, Kreese is probably going to be on the run, trying to clear his name, and if not, cool. But other than that, like, so some of the highlights for me, right? Because this season, it was really weird. I don't want to say it was weirdly paced, right? Because you had a lot of arcs of forgiveness, healing, and connecting to like the movie universe, like a lot of connections to the movie universe, right? And they were all tied to Terry Silver's character. But forgiveness wise, right? You have Robbie and Miguel made up, which was a really big part for me why I like season 5. Those are my two favorite characters. Me and Josh always kind of like go at it with those two characters, because I'm like, my boy Robbie, though, and he's like, my boy Miguel, though, right? So like the fact that like they're now kind of like stepbrothers. No, not kind of. They are. They're like stepbrothers, and their dad is having another kid with Miguel's mom. Kind of, you gotta have it be a family now, right? So I thought that was cool. The whole Mexico trip to go save Miguel from Mexico, I thought that was a cool, like, that was a good way to start the season, right? Because you need a good plot to explain why Robbie and his dad are like trying to make up and trying to be a family again. That was perfect. Let's go get Miguel, who you don't like, but me and you are trying to be a father and son again. They capture this really good. So with Robbie and his dad, Johnny, you've seen Karate Kid 1, right? I know you have. So Johnny Lawrence, the Daniel LaRusso's enemy in the first movie, he's like one of the main characters of the show. And they really do a good job at conveying like the awkward dad and son relationship, right? Because let's face it, bro, as men, we don't really know how to talk to other men and open up and be loving. And we don't know, and especially with our fathers, right? I don't have a father, but I would assume that especially with men in that age group, it's not really easy talking to your dad, bro. You know, like your dad's probably like really like doesn't know how to say he loves you and doesn't really know how to show you attention, and he loves you, right? But he doesn't know how to convey it as a man. So they did a good job in the show kind of showing the awkwardness of that, right? Like he loves his son, bro, but he's like, like I'm kind of I kind of failed you, so I don't want to show you fake love type shit, but I love you. And so I thought that was cool. It was funny because Terry Silver came off as like a really good Bond villain throughout the show in season 5. Like he would just show up like, why are you here in the tanning in the not a tanning salon, it's the sweat lodge type thing. You know, when they go in with the towel and there's like a bunch of smoke, he'll like show up there with like, oh, so you're trying to get in contact with my lawyer, huh? And it's like, it was like, there was moments where like they'd come out of the elevator after getting the ultrasound picture, and like the elevator opens and there he is. It's like, oh yeah, nice, you guys having a baby, huh? Like, it's like, yeah, like he would play like a perfect Bond villain. Like he was definitely the Emperor Palpatine of season 5, right? Like he played like a good villain. A lot of shows try to make the villain the anti-hero, right? So Terry Silver, there's no anti-hero to him. He's just a fucking piece of shit, bro. He's a rich piece of shit who is like just imposing his will on people. I think that's cool, bro. Honestly, because like, right, a lot of movies and shows, they try to make the villain like sympathetic. They try to make him like have ulterior motives, and like, no, bro, we just need a villain who just is rich and just wants to do bad shit, dude. And that's what we get with Terry Silver, and I fucking loved it, dude. Besides the Mexico trip, like I said in the beginning, this show does a really, really good job at paying respects to what came before. So in the third movie, one of the people Daniel LaRusso fights is Mike Barnes. He was Terry Silver's like main student. He appears in the show as an adult, and I thought, hey, the way you guys did his character, maybe you guys could have saved it for season 6. He appears in like an episode or 2. At the fight at the very end, though, obviously he was intoxicated, so he gets like beat up really quick, but he didn't really do anything. And I was like, you know, hey, if you're going to bring back Mike Barnes, cool. But like, I feel like they could have done that a little bit different. And so that part, I was like, okay, you guys could have done something different. What I hope does happen for the next season, though, is if it is going to be the last season or second to last season, because I hope they don't go past season 7, is that they have a lot of loose ends that they got to tie up, right? Because a lot of it, so at the end, Johnny gets into a fight with like 6 or 5, and Tyron Woodley is in the show. He's one of Terry Silver's like senseis, and it was hella funny seeing Tyron Woodley's just in there beating the fuck up out of kids.
Teaching somebody how to get knocked out.
Yeah, which is funny because after what we saw with Jake Paul, but so at the end, he's part of a group of senseis that are beating up Johnny, and they're packing him the fuck out, dude, in this mansion. They're fucking busting him, bro. And I'm talking like just dome shots, bow shots, right? And like, it's funny because he's fighting back, but it's hard because these are like really good senseis that Terry Silver has hired, right? And they're at his house, right? So Johnny, like the ultrasound picture falls out of his jacket, and he's looking at it. And these guys are just like, you know, doing the villain thing, like, and he like looks at that picture and realizes like what he has to fight for, like his family, his kids, like his stepson Miguel, everything that he's been working for. And he just like, and he gets up, bro, and like and I'm saying, like, I thought that scene was cool because it was kind of realistic in a way. You versus 5 people, bud, you're gonna get your fucking shit smashed, bro. And then he gets up, and like, you know, most people would see the ultrasound picture, dig from within, and let's go. And that's what happened. I loved it, man. Terry Silver was also a part at the end when Daniel LaRusso defeats him. I thought the fight was a little quick, but not bad. I mean, the fight wasn't bad. I just felt like it was quicker than it should have been, right? And then when he takes the sword to Chosen, like he slices Chosen in the back and he's bleeding out in the pool. It's like, damn, bro, this guy's like a psycho for real. Like, how did you go from like karate to like, nah, I'm gonna kill you now, right? Because Daniel and Chosen, they fight in the second movie. They have a fight to the death at the end. Daniel wins, but he shows Chosen mercy, right? So I thought that was cool that like him and Terry had like a fight to the death type of scene. So if you guys haven't seen Cobra Kai, I would suggest watching it. Yes, it is a show about karate, and there's a lot of cheesy factors to it, but I feel like it's a good show, and you'll have fun watching it. Not everything has to be serious, you know what I mean? Not everything has to be euphoria and like drugs and sex, and you know, that stuff's cool. Don't get me wrong, that stuff's cool, but a lot of shows would benefit from just doing more simple things, and I think that's where Cobra Kai excels at, right? Like the family aspect, the theme of forgiving, healing, learning, you know, making enemies, making friends, coming together. That stuff is all really important in real life, and this show encapsulates that. So